Lars Enarson here with a prayer update from Israel right now. I want to begin by encouraging all of you and thank you so much for your prayers. Two specific victory reports and answers to prayer that I want to start with here in this report. The first thing, we have prayed a lot for Prime Minister Netanyahu during this entire war. And those prayers are being answered. One proof of that was in the phone conversation between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu last week, where, according to reports, President Biden used cuss words and screamed to Netanyahu, "End this war in Gaza now." And Netanyahu firmly responded back, "Mr. President, we will continue this war until Hamas is defeated." So this is an answer to prayer. We have prayed that Netanyahu will stand firm and do what is right for Israel at this time. I'm reminded of a prophetic vision that a minister had in the United States last year before the October 7 massacre. She saw in a vision a yoke being placed on Netanyahu, and the Lord said this, "Netanyahu is a very strong ox, and I am going to place a heavy yoke upon his neck so that he will go in the direction I want him to go and fulfill my will for Israel at this time." And this is what is being, we see an answer to these prayers that we have prayed for Netanyahu, and I want to encourage you to continue to pray for that. Secondly, the main reason for the attack by Hamas, the massacre, the most horrible massacre in Israel in modern history on October 7, besides the moral depravity in Israel with the LGBTQ movement so strong in Tel Aviv and which is so grieving to God. Beside that, the main reason for the attack was the fighting within Israel on the border of a civil war. And both of these things have changed after October 7. There is a seeking after God among secular Israelis, and also the people who fomented uproar against the government. They are being exposed and rejected by the population. They are no longer holding sway over the masses like they did before. A major organization that was leading all the wild demonstrations, the unlawful actions that they performed in so many ways, is an organization called Brothers in Arms. This organization boasted before the war broke out that they had managed to enlist at least 10,000 reservists in higher positions in both the Army and the Air Force that refused to come for the practices for the Army. Now, after October 7, they have lost faith. Because it's obvious this was a main reason why the enemy chose to attack. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, before October 7, he was very upset with what was happening within the army. He told the military leaders, "You have to stop this insurrection because it is causing Israel to be very vulnerable and the enemy will try to use it." The military leaders, the high up in the IDF and the Air Force, refused to do anything about it. So because this disunity on the border to civil war was a main reason for the war breaking out on October 7, we need to pray that there will be a healing and a unity. And we have seen so much of that happening in Israel. And the latest now news is that this anarchist left-wing organization, Brothers in Arms, they have been exposed for misusing funds that they were supposed to give to the military and to the kibbutzim around Gaza. That's what the money was given to them for. They have kept almost all of that money to themselves. Nobody knows where it has gone, but only a fraction has gone to what it was supposed to go for, to. And that we are talking about hundreds of thousands of US dollars, over 140 million Israeli shekels, only until the end of last year, when the reports now are coming out. So what has happened from January 1st of this year, nobody knows. But this is causing this organization to be rejected by the people. And I want to quote from the prophecy that I quoted in my previous update. If you haven't seen that from day 306, please do so, because this is a prophecy that is very to the point right now for Israel. But in this prophecy, it also said this, and I don't think I quoted it in my previous update. There are those in Israel that use my name, but are far from me. They parade around as a people they are not. And I see this as pointing to these organizations. They use the name of Israel, and they act like they represent the people, and they've done it for so long now, these left-wing organizations. They are a minority, but act like they are the people. And it says in this prophecy, it's so being fulfilled right now. Mammon is their God. Greed and power drive them. They are more interested in overthrowing the government than in defending the nation. It is such a shame, and they are being exposed. I continue quoting from the prophecy here. Let it be known that I am exposing them clearly in this hour. I am sifting them out even now. For I am a God of truth, justice, and righteousness, and Israel, I am calling you to lead the way. For as you lead, others will follow. There are so many of these anarchist organizations now around the world, and the way Israel will treat them, if they act right against them, other nations will follow them. So this organization, it's losing face. The left-wing organizations are losing support from the people. There are several other examples of that, and I want to refer also to a report by Caroline Glick. The link will be in the description under this YouTube, that you can see more examples of this, how they are being exposed right now. So 5 specific prayer points that I have right now. Number 1, continue to pray for Netanyahu, that he will have the wisdom and the power to do what is right for Israel at this time. Number 2, continue to pray for unity to be restored in Israel, specifically between the government and the military, and the government headed by Netanyahu and the military, that they will stand as one. They have said now they are ready to preempt an attack from Iran and Hezbollah. The United States absolutely does not want Israel to do that. But we should pray. That's my 3rd prayer point here. Pray that Israel will have courage and wisdom to strike before Iran and Hezbollah carry out their threats that could be devastating to Israel. Pray for wisdom for Israel to do what is right, that this season will be turned into a season of joy and victory for Israel. So that is my 4th prayer point. Pray, continue to pray for victory for Israel according to Psalm 83. Finally, point number 5. Hamas has lied to the media in the last few days that at least 100 civilians have been killed by an airstrike in Gaza. It is a pure lie, but unfortunately, the government of the United States believes them, the media believes them. Israel is certain that at least 19 terrorist leaders was killed in that strike, and basically no civilians. Please pray that they will stop, that governments and media will stop to believe in Hamas lies, because it is so wicked what is happening. Hamas must be exposed for their lies. Pray for Israel to be able to do that and win the media war. Finally, I want to encourage all of you who can to fast now on Tisha B'Av, Monday night to Tuesday night. It is a day of fasting on the biblical calendar, mentioned as the fast of the 5th month in the book of Zechariah. And we are praying that it will turn into a day of victory and rejoicing. But let's participate in this fast, crying out for these prayer points right now for Israel. Thank you so much for praying. And I want to finally remind you of this open letter that Chief Rabbi in South Africa, Warren Goldstein, wrote to Netanyahu just a few weeks ago. These quotes: "The time for speeches is over. Now action is needed. Israel needs to know that it is alone in the world. But act now." This is to Prime Minister Netanyahu. "Act now and save Israel." Let's pray for that. And forward this prayer update to as many intercessors as you can. Let's unite together. Let's fast on this Tuesday from Monday evening and pray and intercede for Israel. The destiny of Israel is hanging in the balance at this very moment. God bless you. Thank you and shalom from Israel. I'm Lars Enarson from Israel.